you have somebody, you coach and speak and train, and let's say you have somebody that's not very resilient, or they're not taking responsibility, like they're kind of being this victim, like you said.
Yeah.
What do you do with them?
Well, it goes back to number one, man. What are you doing this for to begin with? And I know that it's kind of like who started this?
Simon Sinek.
Yeah, the starting with why stuff. I'm not a huge fan of the whole why thing. I'm more of a fan of having a and because the why thing is important, but it also goes to this whole thing like freedom and legacy, and I was big on that for a while, but I realized that those things are important, right? A lot of people are in sales for freedom and these things, and I think that's fine. But I think there's something that's much deeper than that. And if you don't know what that is, then this came out because somebody asked me, they go, why the hell would you constantly get up every single day and do this Oklahoma drill and get your ass whooped? And I was like, straight up, because I had to prove myself right. But bigger than that, I had to prove every person that constantly said that I could not do it. And that was my drive. I would literally picture these people in my mind.
My last podcast, that was her driving factor, her first year selling.
Yeah.
Her dad, her brothers were like, nope, you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
And she was like, I am doing this solely just to prove them wrong. That's good motivation. Like, dude, it's insane. That is a very common first start motivation to getting somebody successful. I think there reaches a point where like, okay, I made my point. And if you rely solely on that, then it might diminish.
Well, there's two things, right? Yeah. There's, and this is why I don't agree so much with the why. The why is predicated on this grand thing that you're going to accomplish. I earned the scholarship and it was okay. It was okay. Like, I mean, it wasn't like I was super excited. Don't get me wrong, but it only lasted like 2 or 3 days, dude. Like, and I was like, what's next? Like, how am I going to start?
Got the scholarship.
How many catches am I going to get this year? You know?
Yeah.
So there's two areas, and the why, the freedom, and the legacy, all of that focuses on this grand, great good. But what drives people, what you're referring to, next level people, is the reverse. It's the pain side of things. It's for me, that was the pain side of things. It was just constantly dealing with negative people. But for next level people, it's if I sit here and continue to do this and continue to stay here, what is the end result? What is this going to lead to? As opposed to I'm constantly shooting for this like amazing pleasure, which I think is important, but if it's not enough to drive successful people, I don't think. And here's the other thing: most successful people have that inner crazy fire. So there's the middle people. There's the people that need the pleasure. There's the people that are the next level people. And then there's the people that just, it doesn't matter what you say, they're just going to grind. They're just going to be, they just don't stop.
They're the, like Tim Grover talked about.
The Tim Grover. Yeah. The cleaners. They're the cleaners of the world. They're the Ed Milet's of the world. They're these guys, nothing, it doesn't matter. They're not stopping. It's those middle people that are tough. Like you said, the pain in the beginning, the middle people, the next level people.
So there's an interesting concept that I learned called the law of diffusion.
Okay.
Have you ever heard this theory?
I haven't.
So it talks about the first, about 2% of your organization or people you work with. They're like kind of your first movers. They're just like top 2%. They're crushers.
Yeah.
They're kind of that weird cleaner group, right? Yeah. Then you have the next like 13.5% that are your first movers or your early adopters. I mean, and it's kind of this. Your top 20% is that, 16 to 20%. We've all heard the 80-20 rule, right? But then you have like these early majority is the next phase. It's usually 34%. So this is a bell curve.
Yeah.
And this early majority are kind of like waiting to get moved into this, early adopter, like this top performer realm. And then there's the late adopters. And then there's just like the laggers, the crappy people. That's like the this is 34%, this is 34%, and then there's the bottom like 16% that suck, that you're like, get rid of them. So
the turnover.
Yeah, so it's interesting, like understanding how to work with this bell curve, because the big majority, that 68% of people, are either in the early majority or late adopter realm, and being able to say, how do I transition these people into more of a higher performer, I think is really the master of a leader. And I don't know, I thought it was such an interesting principle. It kind of goes along with like this. There's the top 1%, they're just going to do, you don't have to babysit them. And then there's like these crappers, and then there's like this prime middle ground.
And there's two sides of it, right? There's the prime middle ground that's they're doing just good enough so they're comfortable.
Yes.
And then there's the people that are trying to get to that spot. So they're like
and that's why they're split into two.
Yeah. I mean, I think the people that are the next, I call them the next level people, is the ones you're saying that are comfortable, right?
Yeah.
And I think, is that your question? How do we get them to I think figuring out what, because they're comfortable. So figuring out what is, because they still have stuff they still have some sort of pain in their life. And I think you have to dig and find that and use that to drive them.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think there's a who, like when you say start with why, try on start with who. My formula, I have an achievement framework I'm writing. It actually start with what. For me, I'm like, how do you build a why until you actually have a what? Like, what do I want? And then why do I want it?
Yeah.
But I think there's an element of who that you put in there. Like, I'm proving these people wrong. That's my who. And I think you put in there an element of an antagonist, somebody that you can pin yourself against. I'm sure there was somebody you were gunning for their starting position.
Of course.
And you were like, I hope you get hurt, but don't hope you get hurt. Like, I am coming for you.
Yes.
And every day you're practicing for your spot. And there was probably somebody behind you when you were a starter and saying, I'm coming for you.
Yeah.
And you had to play it in a game. And I think that the difference between a lot of sales organizations and a football team, Nick Saban's not afraid to cut his players. Nick Saban's not afraid to say, you sucked last game, I'm putting in this guy.
Yeah.
And you have to go earn your spot back. In sales, not many managers are sitting there going, you haven't really sold last week, so you have to sit the bench.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
right.
They're kind of like, oh, come on, dude. Like, don't you want to make money? Like, don't you want to be successful? And you're like,
but see, they're focusing on the good.
Yeah, they're not being like, go sit the bench.
Right. That's the
like,
negative.
go home. Like, you're not allowed to sell here.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to play.
Like, wake up, bro.
Wake up, dude. Like, until you take responsibility, I don't even want you on the team.
Thank you.
And like, I don't think enough leaders have the balls to actually look their sales dudes in the face just because they're worried about him leaving, quitting, feeling bad. But I'm like, you didn't instill enough pain.
Yeah.
Why did somebody fight? They didn't want to sit the bench. Nobody wants to be that dude that's like, yeah, I played all 4 years and never got in a game. Yeah, it was so awesome. Like, let's go right home to like.
Look at the cornerback for the Patriots. Bill Belichick is not scared to sit. The cornerback for the Patriots, I can't remember his name right now, but he made the big interception against Seattle. You know, the big interception. They won the Super Bowl because of this pick with like no time on the clock. The next Super Bowl, he was benched the whole game because of something that happened previously during camp or during the week before or something. And Bill Belichick benched him for a Super Bowl.
He's not afraid to do it. That's what makes him a good coach.
Right. That's why he wins. That's why he's won 6.
That's why he's won so many.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to get rid of great players.
Yeah.
Because like you've had your time. You're fizzling out. I need to shake it up. He's always getting new people.
Yeah.
And you watch like the new players on his team right now. They're just starting to play in a different league than they used to be playing. You know what I mean? And so it's like you watch good coaches and good leaders. I think it's that ability to pull the relentlessness, like you said, out of pain and pleasure, I think in some regards. But I think that ability is the difference between some of your people in your organization making a lot of money and a little bit of money.
Yeah.
And an abundance mindset around benching, firing some of the fat that's like you're hanging on to in hopes. It's kind of like they got to want it.
Yeah.
And you got to not tolerate people that don't want it.
I mean, would you be happy if someone was just constantly comfortable, just hanging around comfortable? Like, hey, I'm good with my paycheck. Like,
no,
I mean, no, not a chance.
Nobody wants to hang with that guy.
Yeah.
That would suck. Life would suck if that's you.